True peace, true peace. Happy holy day. Peacemakers and Muslims, happy holy day. We're about to get started for here today. Hope everyone having a good holy day today. About to wake it up for the people. Hope everyone enjoying their holy day. Alright. Go ahead and share the room. As you come in, share the room. Share the room. Somebody came in already. Not sure who that was, but share the room. Welcome. Happy holy day, peacemakers. We're about to wake it up today. True peace. Sharing the room to our, let me see who that is. True peace, Miss B, Miss Belinda. Welcome. Happy holy day. We're gonna get started in a second. We're just sharing the room out to our social medias. We're gonna do our opening for tonight. Welcome. I hope y'all join y'all Friday today. Today is holy day for all peacemakers across the world. Do one more share, and we're gonna get right into our divine supplication. First thing first, I want to give honors to the divine creator and whatever name you want to make reference to him as. A lot of people like to say this God, that God, but it really don't matter. There's only one divine source and creator of all. All right. I want to give honors to the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Honorable Marcus Garvey. I want to give honors to all the leaders and the staff members that was around at the time of Honorable Marcus Garvey when he was taking upon his divine mission. I want to give honors to all the leaders that came after the prophet, such as H.I.M Bey, C.M Bey with the Clock of Destiny, the Moorish paradigm. I want to give honors to all of the leaders of the African liberation movement. Any leader that you can think of in your mindset, this is a time to give them high honors that they deserve. I want to give honors to everyone that'll be here in participation tonight. I want to give honors to everything indigenous, everything Moorish. And with that, we're going to jump right into our divine supplication. True peace, Brother Brown. I see you about to bring you. Okay. I guess that was the sister. So, true peace, Brother Brian. Welcome. Happy holy day, Noble.
Greetings.
I'm gonna need you to help me moderate the room, because you know I'm gonna be giving that good old delivery and transmission from the spirits. So just help me moderate the room. If you're new to the space, you need a temple home, go ahead and click that block of words at the top. At least for Friday, you can join us every Friday. We do Sunday, but Sunday is in the afternoon. We do our sermons and lectures in the afternoon. So this is another space that you can come to, even if you go to church or you go to the mosque or temple or whatever it may be. You can join us here and your Moorish indigenous family on Sundays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Central Time. So that way you can chime in and tap in and see what we have going and just learn the science of your indigenous peoples, your ancient ancestors. And let's get it started today. We're going to jump in, of course, with the parliamentary opening that we do here every week, starting out with our divine supplication. But for all those that will be coming in, listen to the replays, y'all know how it go. Click that block of words at the top that says World Temple. This is branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are chartered and incorporated temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may learn to love instead of hate. True peace, noble majestic. I see y'all now. Bring you up real quick. You right on time, cause y'all know soon as I get to this opening, I am not gonna see my screen. But I need y'all to help if you can. True peace, noble. Happy holiday, majestic.
Happy holiday, sir. True peace. Noble
Much love.
Brian. Also, be beautiful. Peace and love.
Much love. Hope you enjoying your Friday. If not, we gonna make it. We gonna make this moment enjoyable. At least we ain't gonna have the whole day go bad for those that probably having a bad day. Kind of lift your spirits up. So just sit back, relax. You know, this message definitely I feel vibrating and generating right now. It's for y'all, man. Cause we got people that's going through some things. You know, that lower self is traveling to and fro and coming at our people. So we definitely need to acknowledge that. It's not just the space for us to learn the science of the indigenous people, but to gather in the name of the divine and come together and give reverence. We know who the greatest. We know God is the greatest. So we're gonna get right into it. That, like I said, let's get into this divine supplication. Get this opening going. If y'all moderators can help me moderate the room for the people that's coming in. You know, if they leave questions in the chat, just chime in. It don't matter if you gotta interrupt me or anything like that. Just chime in if they got questions. You can go ahead and shout out their questions and or invite them up if they are members in the temple. Just let them know in the chat that join the link at the top so that way we can bring them up on stage. True peace to the God. All right, so let's get into this holy day here, y'all, with this divine supplication. All right, so y'all know how it go. First thing first, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the all. Right, let it open up. We begin our prayers and thinking by using the all. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean the filth made by the West End as non-Semitic food. O my sustainer, we beseech you to control the strings of the courses of our lives. I'm sorry. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us and control the strings of the courses of our lives. And if we do wrong, please show thy divine blessing and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name, we carry on. Right, y'all. So we're gonna jump into our not divine, but our daily affirmations that you all should be reading together with your family. You have access to that in the Civics 101 Temple School District. That way you can read that over daily with your family. It's something that we suggest and recommend that you read daily. These affirmations are very, very powerful once you start to embed them within yourself. There's 19 there's 19 other affirmations that we give recommendation for too, but these are the main ones for the day to set the day and just set the mindset and the atmosphere, the spiritual atmosphere for you and around you. So you have these principles that are always there in the back of your mind, reminding you to stay grounded, stay balanced, stay in a loving state. Even if the day is going a little sour, you have these affirmations that are embedded within that remind you keep your head up and never lose sight and never let go of the rope. With that, what we accept as fact is the name of these affirmations. We call them the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim. So, as it states, we accept as fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense. Revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept as fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept as fact our way of life is a means to the best end. We accept this fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crime. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstance, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worldwide cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians, and the Anunnaki, or Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need, first of all, a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hells, your hellfire, and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on a throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the fact. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty. And this wars fall within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation. We're all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race, its biological and cultural heritage, is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all is one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. True peace, true peace, true peace. So those affirmations are most helpful, especially if you're going through any psychomatic type of things in your life and you're battling against that little voice in your head that always has something negative to say. You can include this with other forms of meditation, auto-suggestion, and things like that. But we need these things most definitely, especially to reprogram the mind. We have a non-dimensional program here, a spiritual program, sound mind, clean spirit, these type of things that help you actually retransform and transmute yourself into the renewing of your mind, spirit, and body. So you need those affirmations because the spirit is quickened by the body. So if you look at the word affirmative, you're taking the essence of the word and the purpose of it, and you're making it firm. So just hope y'all understand that. With that, we're gonna jump right into our divine constitution and bylaws in the Moorish prayer. Y'all know how it go: 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Go ahead and do it with me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. With that, y'all, we're gonna jump right into the divine constitution, as it reads, Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God of love. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Zabuwr, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Zabuwr, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. True peace, y'all. True peace. Let me share the room real quick to Brother Mo. And then we're going to jump right into our weekly readings here, which repetition is the father and mother of learning, as we know. And we're going to get right into that in a second. Let me share the room with the people on Telegram. Share the room with the family. Right. So, as y'all know, every week here we open up with chapter 25 of the Holy Qur'an, Circle 7, which is called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. So we're going to open up for the family, get right to it. If you need a copy of the Holy Qur'an, Circle 7, should be one in the Civic 101 course. You should be able to get a copy of it. If not, just send me a back channel message, Holy Qur'an, or just Circle 7, either or, and I'll get you a copy over to you, so that way you can have read with us here every week. Because you want to have the literature with you as we read, even if it's just a copy of the phone. You can read with us every week, go through it, read along. Tonight we're going to be touching heavy on Holy Qur'an, Circle 7. Also want to jump into the Holy Tablets just a bit, if we can, because you got to wake it up with these new thought patterns, which you can access through the wisdom of the Holy Tablet, what's been conveyed from our ancient texts and translated modern day time from one of the best translators of the scriptures that is ever to do it. And we know the grand body of work that's been bestowed upon us to continue the new logical doctrine and mindset and way of thinking. All right, that's all right with that. So we're gonna jump right into it. Chapter 25, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, and it reads, "Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. That the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other." So that's kind of what tonight's message is going to be about, because a lot of people think you graduate out of the school of Allah. Woo! Not realizing divine nature is infinite. Just flat out, how it should be said. We know it's infinity and beyond. It's infinity and beyond. So technically, you're on a forever infinite learning journey. Nature is forever expanding, and we have to realize that nature is forever expanding, and you're gonna always be learning. So some people feel like they don't have to come to the temple because they didn't learned it all. That's not the case. And then find themselves in that feeling, God is still working on me. Having to let people know, hey, I am not perfect. I am still being worked on by the divine spirit, just as everybody is. So that's what we're gonna be going into here tonight. But I digress right there with that, so we can go into chapter 47 and 48 officially. Close out these with these opening readings for our weekly reading. So chapter 47 is called Egypt, the Capital Empire of the Dominion of Africa, and it reads, "The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Mexico, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest, was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite and Hittite and Amorite brethren, who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and habitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantic, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantic Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdom. Also the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descended nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black and colored, was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. Shalom, shalom, hotel, true peace. So, as I said, there's still much wisdom to be learned. There's still much wisdom to be learned. And for us that know a wise man and a wise woman, we don't know nothing at all. This planet is just a speck of dust in the infinite omniverse. Simple. It's just a speck of dust. And we find ourselves arguing and bickering and going back and forth about a speck of dust, literally. So with that, just, sit on the mind real quick. So we can jump right into this next chapter, the last chapter, chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophet. As it reads, the last prophet in these days is noble Lawiy, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem man from their sinful ways, and to warn him of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nation, and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God of law, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Lawiy, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of man, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization, and in any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negro. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. True peace, salam, Islam, hotel, architect. And with that, y'all, we're gonna jump right into tonight's message. True peace, brother John. Happy holiday. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, brother John. Try to bring you up. Send him an invite so he can come up today. Mashallah, he's been here. But welcome. Hope you're enjoying your holiday over there. No, hope all y'all enjoy your holiday. If not, we can make the best of the day here, because you don't want anything to be ruining your day or get you down and ruin a whole 18, 24 hours, however much time somebody took out of your time. Because that's what people do. They come in with deviation, come in with distraction, they come in with everything but the lower self that keep us out of alignment and off our square. So, like I said, we're going to be going in about the fact that knowledge is infinite. It doesn't stop. I'm not sure if you've seen the invite, but I sent you an invite, Noble John. So, all right, there. Yeah, y'all just keep a lookout for me, for people that's coming in. make sure you send them an invite. If they are, known members in the temple, or if you just, like I say, send them a message in the chat to see if they are actually following us here on Clubhouse as guests, so that way we don't have no problem bringing them up on stage. With that, we're gonna get into tonight's message right on time, Brother John. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna get into the fact that people think, they do some paperwork, man, and they graduate from the temple, and that's all there is. Not realizing, that knowledge is infinite. So if someone feel like they done graduated all of a sudden, they don't need to come back to the temple, especially when they learned all the paperwork processes and all this good old sovereign citizen rhetoric, the secure party creditor rhetoric. True peace, Nova Simone. I see you. Much love. Fine love.
True peace.
True peace. I hope you're enjoying your holy day, enjoying your Friday. Happy holiday. But they feel like they doing all of this, paperwork, and they ain't got to do no more. They good on the paperwork. They see, the cycle of people coming in, so they don't got to learn no more. But one thing a lot of people miss, the best way to learn is by watching other people learn, especially when you're the one assisting people in the learning process. You learn more by how you deliver information, by how you teach. So, as I said, nature is infinite. We know this. Nature is a continuum. We know this. Nature keeps growing. So, you never graduate the school of Allah. What is beyond the bosom of Allah, beyond the bosom of the Most High, beyond the bosom of Lahut, as we call it in our ancient language? What is beyond the bosom of the all? If we know what we know, you can't take away from the all, you can't add to the all, because the all is. Where you gonna get this extra? Where you gonna get this extra outside of the all? Where is this coming from? Outside of the scope and the jurisdiction, the omniversal jurisdiction of the Most High. Where is it coming from? If not coming from the mind of the Most High, if not coming from the mind of the all. And I'm touching on this because we run into those people who feel that, as I said here for the past couple weeks, and people in the temple be tripping. They be tripping. They doing this, they got that going on. But life is made up of learning, so you have to do your due diligence, just like if you was in a business deal or you was enrolling your kids in some school. You don't just put them in school because it's the next school nearest to you. You want to make sure that school is going to be able to provide your kids with quality knowledge, lessons, and program, etc. Or you just living life on default, or outside of your mind, like a lot of our people are out they, ever loving mind, and especially with things that we do as a people, forgetting that source, that divine connection. There's power in these sacred names, as we know, but there's power in the gathering. This is why the word church for Europeans or the Greeks referred to power. They understood the power of assembly. We understood in ancient times the power of assembling and coming together to discuss the divine and gather around those who speaking in the name of the Spirit. It's power in that. But we forget that with some of these sovereign citizens. Some of our people forget that with these sovereign citizens mentalities, these patriotism mentalities, they do the paperwork and oh they're redeemed and that's that. That's not the case. That's not the case. When you got spiritual work to do, the prophet came to save our people from mental slavery. This is a mental thing, a spiritual thing. So therefore, you got to reprogram your mind. You're not gonna do that in a couple days. You're not gonna do that in a couple weeks. Just coming back to the temple or just listening to some good motivational speeches or whatever you might do. It takes time to crystallize that within yourself, to reprogram that frequency within yourself. Sitting around these vain discussions, as we talked about here these past couple weeks, that's, you know, that becomes embedded in you. You got to get that out. This is why I'm saying we got to go more in depth into our new logical way of thinking. Put the logic way of thinking in its place, in its proper place. It's okay to have logic. It's okay to understand the animal instinct. But for those that have that calling, it's time for y'all to step into the new logical. We stepping into a more advanced way of living. We discussed here last week about the sun cycle, the moon cycle, and these things that we as a people got to get prepared for, that most people are not necessarily talking about. They're not going into depth about. Some of our people do know it, but what does that really behold? What are we really looking at? So this is why we whipped out the Injiyl here on Friday, a couple weeks back. Listen to the replay and go back and listen to those replays. And we talked about the things that's coming. We know about the financial system and the things that are coming like a script. We've been talking about it here on Clubhouse. Our great leaders have been talking about it. Some of them in the ballpark, some of them more precise, on point. But nonetheless, we have access to knowing that something is in the water, something is going on, something is preparing itself. And for those that just read the scriptures on their own, you definitely should understand that there's a major revealing coming in to fruition, and there's gonna be a major change. We know these seven thunders are passing along as we go. So we see the things happening right amongst us. In the 90s, they was putting ears on rats. Human ears on rats. Now, in the 2020s and beyond, they creating brains in laboratories. They creating brains in laboratories. I gotta get the name of this movie, y'all. I might grab it later on and put it in the chat for us. But got some homework for y'all tonight on that. I want y'all to check out this movie where they talk about exactly what's happening right now in 1995, with there being a split between the elite class and the poor class, and these civil clashes that start to happen, but also the global crisis that start and protests that start to take place across the world that fuels that on top of that, giving you your World War III.
Can I say
And
something?
go ahead, no, two piece.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you had mentioned that the laboratories are growing brains, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so to be able to do that, that means that we are evolving as a people. And I think it's really important to understand the power of the DNA, the power that you have within yourself. And it's really important to know about what type of environment grows these type of cells. so I watched a documentary where a scientist was basically saying that they could take one cell from the body and put it in different environments, and it would
Mm,
grow different organs, it would grow different, just different parts of the body. And that really woke me up because the revelation of the environment told the cell how to grow. So the environment that we have in the world is talking of corruption and war and food shortages and bankruptcy. And then as an average person, you have to deal with the environment at work and the dynamics of your home. And so all of these things that are pulling on our souls and taking our attention away is creating a new environment for the cells that are already living, because we know that the cells evolve. That's why we age. You know what I mean?
yes, ma'am.
So time creates an environment. And in this environment, the reality of gravity speaks for itself. It's in the environment that you realize that gravity is true. Mother Nature is not lying about gravity. You know what I mean? So in the environment, the world will teach you, or you can learn from other people's lessons, like you said before. So studying to show thyself approved is most important. Keeping up with the laws that they're trying to pass is most important, because they know we're sleeping. They know that the giant is sleeping. But when you wake up the giant, that's a different story. It's a different environment. Ashe.
Islam. Islam. Beautifully said. Because if we pay attention to things that are taking place with all of the, like she said, all of the laws that are being passed, especially right now. And you took that thought right out of my head, because I wanted to touch on the executive order that's just been passed by Biden today, because our people miss the power behind gathering, as those elite and elect of nature, because our ancestors live within us, right? And they live within those dormant parts of us. So us here gathering as we do, and we tapping into that mental reservoir, we represent, or we are the embodiment of those ancestors that are moving within the bigger brain of us, or the bigger mental mainframe of everything that encapsulates nature itself. We are that portion here in this little speck of dust and this little small dendrite, or what we call in noon science a brain nuke, that is functioning, that is catching the spark. Y'all, you watch the movies, the TV shows, they call it the all spark and Transformers, and different things on other shows or other movies. But we are the ones catching that spark enough to come and gather to discuss these things and leave record of these things, because whether our people pay attention to it in the future or not, and those that do catch it, that are meant to catch it, because this is for the elect and elite, and the information that we're delivering and giving is for those 144,000 and congregation of people that are of the anointed. People only, discuss the 144,000, when they want to be mystical and deep and and all these things, but miss the fact that it's not just the 144,000, it's also that congregation, that global congregation of those people that'll be tapping in and and coming into their anointedness. Back then, you was anointed with some alligator oil. Today, it's the divine knowledge that's going to be spewing through people like Simone, the
I
master
believe
teacher.
in the
Go ahead.
delayed response and the solution. So when I watch CNN and when I try and catch up with what's going on today, the current events, you know what in my soul I see a delayed response. And that's the issue. It's like God always warns us, but some don't take heed. And then the flood comes. And now you believe me. And that's the thing that I really want to say to the listeners is don't get caught up in trying to convince everyone because history proves biblically that there is a delayed response. Some people's senses have gone numb and they can't respond like they used to. That's what happens in aging. But there is a spirit of God. I feel like God gives us all the spirit of discernment, which just means that your spidey senses are up. That means that you can tell if the atmosphere is genuine or not. And I just really feel like meditation and prayer and fasting and studying to show thyself approved constantly will keep you safe. You know what I mean? Just upholding what you know is right will keep you safe. But not just that, paying attention to what's going on because when I'm watching the news or whatever, I often don't hear the solution. They say, this just in. This just happened, ladies and gentlemen, and they're about to pass the bill. So the listeners are like, oh snap, this is about to change. And then they turn the TV off. The thing that we don't know how to do collectively is to participate in politics to prevent those things from happening. Because it's like, I feel like sometimes it's information overload where it's like, this is happening, the war is coming, and then the war is here. And it's like, I'm just a little person. How can I, affect change? And I really feel like that is where the change will come because the free education that we get doesn't really teach the public school what I'm talking about. They don't really teach how to get involved with what's going on. They always kind of tell you what is going on, or more so, you'll get the story after, and it'll be in your history books, and you're like, what? But who fought against it? What? What? This happened in. It's like my problem is taxes, right? So you tell me I owe you money and you're knocking on my door, but you're not knocking on my door that this law is about to pass and it could change my life. That part. Anybody with me?
Islam.
So I'm saying we could keep up with the current
I
events
don't know
all
if you can
day.
hear me.
We could get it before anybody. But what are we doing to change it? And do we have any power to change it? And the answer is yes. But the answer is not just like an individual, it's more like a collective. The collective has to move as one to be able to solve those issues or at least show up and try and make an impact.
I did not hear the last couple words you said, Nova. They got my signal over here on bad. Let me leave and come back in, y'all.
Yeah, I that's awesome what you just said. Um,
All right, can y'all hear me now?
yes,
Yeah, Jonathan was speaking.
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. I was saying she was saying how can we leave a lasting impact? And that's like that's what I've been observing a lot of different events for 10, 15, 20 years, but coming at it from a younger version of my father who's known computers and has dealt with the postal and all that, involving the networks and stuff. So I've like kind of been watching from behind the scenes, and that's why like blogging and then seeing the divine national movement giving a framework or foundation for actually giving actionable intents, knowing that the markets and consumer choice and our purchasing power is really what the voting comes down to. And then when you weigh that with environmental issues and different ecological economic issues, then you have your whole work laid out in front of you. But allowing people to feel like they can participate in a fun way as well as a serious way has been a real challenge in balancing out the perceptions, because you can see something on these music videos and think, oh, they're playing, but really there's a lot of work involved in making those music videos, and that goes for all assets or facets of society. True peace.
Yes,
True
sir.
peace. Y'all
I think
waking it up today. I love that. Go ahead.
we have to educate one another. Am I my brother's keeper? The answer is yes. We have to keep each other enlightened on the process of solutions, because the round table, the conversation can go on all day. We can keep up with the current events, and we're like, oh, did you know? No, I didn't know. And now you know, but what are you going to do now? You know what I mean? So it's like, just being in the knowing is one thing, but making change is another.
Islam. Y'all waking it up today. I don't know if y'all can hear me. They got my signal on Suhuf. Real bad. Right. I know my signal was going in and out. I was trying to hit the last of what you had said before Jonathan time. But y'all are right. This is why we talk about civic engagement here. We come together in concert over artists and everything else. But these things right here that y'all are discussing, because solutions must be provided. Solutions must be lived out. We got to create it. We got to do the work, which is cliche, but that goes beyond just saying, because it's the evidence of the action that actually shows that this is the actual solution. This is how you get it done. And we have a lot of examples of these things. But when we're talking about being prepared for something, and prepared with not just like Simone just said, knowing it, but actually having a viable and workable solution for it, that's a whole nother field, a whole
That's
nother ball.
what Lee did. He mapped it out. Like, literally, he talked about the problem. I mean, he had his body paragraph and a solution, which was in the conclusion.
Islam. This is why I say, to those that are getting the perspective of, they graduating from the temple, there is no graduation. There's always work to do, especially, you know, what we call the army of God, or the army of the Most High, the assembly line of the Most High. There's always work to do. Knowledge is just one thing and one aspect of why you should assimilate yourself to the temple. But also, like what Noble is waking up, these revelations, this redemption, our people need to be redeemed. The work that has to take place. Like I asked past couple weeks, where are we gonna be? What are we gonna be? Where are we gonna be doing it at? What is our mindset? What is our thinking? Because these things are quickly coming to pass. You're gonna have the division of people, and like she said, those delayed responses. You have that warning that comes before the storm hit, and people still get caught in these storms. They get trapped in these storms. So this is why I wanted to touch on the seven thunders tonight, because at least we can go into the holy tablets a little bit, because we need to do that. We need to do that more. There's a lot of text out there for us to read, but as we keep going and feeding on pieces that we can in the time, the small time that we do have together to do these things, it will be helpful. It will be helpful to bringing you that reminder, not just activating it, because it's one thing coming together and learning about these things, but the portions of things that we're talking about today that keeps that portion of your mind activated and your spirit moving toward an actual end goal or end solution. We was told to come together and build communities. So we know what the main end goal is for us. Um, we talked about this last week with Brother H.I.M when he was in the room, and Sister Noble Sade. There's things that are already being implemented, but it ain't gonna be much that can be done if it's just one or two of us. For those that understand the seriousness, that come back and listen to us weekly, know we have a divine inherited program, solution, instructions. Noble Drew Ali had the divine plan of the ages, and that's simply what Noble Simone is making reference to. This divine plan of the ages, there's a plan in place. There's a solution in place. You had the master teacher come along and put the microscope and zoom in on the vision of that. So now we understand, okay, like I said, not just the 144,000, we coming together as those anointed congregations all over the world, and we have to develop these new cities of peace, these new townships, eco villages of peace. So that's gonna require some brain power, some focal, because it's gonna take some engineering, it's gonna take some mechanical work, it's gonna take some back testing, some engineering, and not just you know your basic type of things. You're gonna need architecture, and we really got to get into these things. And it can't just be one person. Everyone in here has some type of skill set, especially a divine gift that they was given for this particular day and time, so that can do just that, so we can provide solutions. I've been ministering and coordinating for almost a decade now, for us to start establishing our own cities of peace locally wherever we at, along with the smart contracts and things like that on the technological end. That's where people like Brother Jonathan come in, where more of the technical things suit their fancy. Because being new logical is not just essence based, it's also physical based. As I mentioned here last week, we are the people who created the computers. That's our intelligence. That's indigenous intelligence behind that. So it's gonna take for us to really sit down and make plans for personal plans for the divine plan. How does your personal plan for your life actually incorporates what the Most High wants for you? Because if you think just coming into the temple, like I said, is about some redemption of doing, just doing paperwork and you correcting your status on paper, a lot of those people are missing the boat with their patriotism mentality, and not giving you the economic infrastructure and guidelines and plan that Noble Drew Ali came with. We got to build that community among us, but we got to go out, fall off the bike, scrape our hands, get some cuts, get some bruises, and doing this work, fighting your inner demons. All that's gonna come with it. Like I said, that little voice in your head that holds you back from doing a lot of things, you're gonna have to fight against that. You're listening to someone who has done that work, who has went through years of doing that work, because Lord knows you get tempted to stray off the path and not stay focused. And you know also you have your haters, that come along and want to, deviate and, make sure you deviate. But we stay centered, we stay focused throughout this whole time since we started everything, just as well as the leaders before us. We got some pushback, but you have the information and the awareness all around us. There's more people knowing about Noble Drew Ali now. There's more people knowing about Marcus Garvey now. There's more people knowing about Elijah Muhammad now. But what are we gonna do with that as a people? Those that actually know what the actual work is to be done. Because you got millions of people that surround themselves around Farrakhan on the weekly, monthly. But who's implementing this actual needed solution? Farrakhan knows about the works of the master teacher and what was intended. Farrakhan knows about the Holy Prophet and what was intended. They're connected to the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Nation of Islam is. So that's one of the biggest portions of the divine and national movement. But that little remnant of us, that little voice in the wilderness, we gonna be the ones, according to Book of Samuel, giving the revelation in the last days that most people are not paying attention to. We're not here to be, like I said before, good speakers. I'm not here to do what the master teacher did by, you know, teaching you about Abraham, teaching you about Moses, you know, teaching you about the Egyptians and the deities. We passed that point, like I mentioned last week. We're here to find those that are here to do the Quranic work. Because as sister said, you're gonna have to tap in. And not just on a current events type of tapping in, but divinely tapped in. Phone home, ET. Because the level of technology, the level of innovation that's coming and that we already living in this new sun cycle, we got to be prepared for understanding ancient society in modern day times, and or what we call the ancient future. For those that know about that concept, we call it the ancient future. So we going into advanced ways of living, but we also incorporating ancient and divine principles, ancient and divine creed in this development. And half our people are already, like on delayed time, let alone want to sit with us and get the information. The ADHD start kicking in. They embed themselves in these vain discussions. And we read this in El's Holy Quran last week. And the wealth of these people is not going to be the wealth that's going to make it into the future. If this is what these revelations about, and they call them ancient stories, that's what you know, this gathering is for. It's for us to do dhikr, to give you that reminder. Not to give you a good sermon, which, that's what we're here for, to give you good word, that's going to uplift your spirit, good vibrations that's going to uplift your spirit and your soul. But at the same time, we're here to prepare you tactically. This is some tactical prepping going on here. This is why we have the knowledge from the master teacher, and we're going into the in-depthness of this day and time. The points of what we're supposed to be doing, like we was talking about a couple of holy days ago. We got to invest in gold. We got to come together, put our investments together, as me and Brother Jonathan been talking about. Get off into brokerage for those that finance suit their fancy. Consultation work. If you got to get out there and start gathering people like Brother Brian and consulting with people and doing those type of services. Whatever other skill set that like I said, you have gifts that were given to you by the divine that has to be harnessed. We see what happened to, if you watch the movie X-Men, you see what happened to a lot of them. that would leave the school. And it would always normally be based on ego, some deviation from one of the mutants that would try to, some type of divide and conquer tactic. But if you notice, most of them stayed because this is where they learned to work in group structure, a community, which is divine law, the Most High, us working together as a community, harness their powers and control it for the good, which is also a part of the divine law. And your powers that we talk about here that'll be activated, this is going to be controlled by those higher divine intelligence ancestors that we talk about, those that you need to tap into from the higher plane, the new sphere, not just operating on those other 7 layers. We're going into what we call non-ether. And a lot of people talk about ether, but has no clue what it breaks down to on a chemical level and how that affects us. Like I said, we don't need the Hollywood bullcrap no more. We need straight and to the point. We need people that's going to teach it straight and to the point and give us the information and be able to convey it in that kind of way. We're going to need y'all that know how to teach to come in, put, boots on the ground. This is why it's good to have the virtual outlet and how we building it. And, we're not doing it to be influencers and, have people distracted on everything else. As far as, we need to have the current events. We need to know about this. We need to know about that. We got work to do as a people. First, we got to solve this civic engagement issue, which is what is the unifying underliner between us all as indigenous people globally. We got so many different, nations and groups of people that come. But like she said, the prophet had a divine plan, and it's been certified, verified, and it publicly acknowledged all throughout the United States. I didn't get a chance to thank you while you was here, Noble Majestic, but I definitely want to thank you again for bringing that piece of knowledge that you brought 2 holy days ago and dropping that HR 1203 on us, because that's in Georgia. You got one in Texas. You got one in Illinois, Washington, all over the U.S. publicly acknowledging Holy Day Week and the sovereign theocratic government of the Moorish Science Temple of America. But this particular branch temple number 24, not your average Moorish Science Temple of America. And I'm going into the Holy Tablets with that because, they got all kind of derogatory terms for the Moors. They call us the moops, whatever else, the sellouts. They want to say Moors are actually Europeans. There's all kind of conscious community outside the box things that make people sound like they talking about something, but they just there for distraction. This is why I went into the new logical way of thinking, because the solution is our way of thinking and tapping into that frequency so we can hit a call when it's time to be there. You got a designated thing to do at a designated place at a designated time. That's called destiny. This is why we understand our ancient and holy tablets to be called the holy tablets, those sacred tablets. So we know, like I said last week, the devil, or whatever you want to call Shaitan, the clay thing, and Arabic nicknamed the devil, which in short, etymologically or epistemologically, you can say is deviation off your path, your divine path, and things that you need to do. So this is that delayed response that she's talking about. It's the deviation. Some of our people have a pact with those that are fallen, those thoughts of Allah that are not made in the image and after the likeness. They don't see themselves in the image and after the likeness of the divine creator. They don't even think the divine creator exists or there's a purpose for it. And we got work to do in this day and time. Not just, give a good sermon I love TD Jakes. I'm sure some of y'all in the room feel the same way. You know, some people probably don't like TD Jakes, but you got good people like that. You got Miles Monroe. True P. Somebody said they do. I know. I love TD Jakes. The master teacher loved TD Jakes. The master teacher went through a divine intervention with the pastor TD Jakes.
I like the Potter's House
So
where he was talking about sometimes, you know, being born into sin, we are like a vase. And sometimes for God to rebuild us, we have to be broken to be restored because of the conditioning. It's more so you have to renew your mind, you have to renew your soul, you have to renew your eating habits where you become a new creature. And I think it's beautiful because to give birth to something, it takes 9 months, and sometimes it can really be painful. And at the end of the day, after all of that carrying and hoping that your baby will be okay, it's like when you see that sunshine, that child for the first time, you recognize that there is a greater force outside of you, but allowed you the opportunity to go through that experience of what it's like to give birth. And so we give birth to jobs, we give birth to people, we give birth to relationships. Like this, the World Temple is giving birth because we keep showing up. And when you give birth, there is a manifestation, there is evidence that birth is present. And so, we are all together present and we are seeking higher knowledge because we know that the environment that we live in, they don't just give it to us, and often they hide it from us. So it's not going to fall in your lap. You have to literally seek out the truth.
with that, ask, seek, and knock. I'm gonna give y'all one of the codes that's mostly just read by those that read the right knowledge, the right wisdom for the right understanding. But get it, when you ask, you have to be asking, seeking, and knocking, and that door is gonna always be open unto you. This is why when you have people like Brother Phase One and he talks about how to speak elite, that's knowing the rhetoric of the fraternal order of the mystic order of Melchizedek. This is why the master teacher went and embodied the work of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Because if I take you through the the ancient wisdom of the sages in real time, then you see, you feel it, you hear it, you embed it. So if we walk on that long journey on a short path together and we go through the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, we go through the wisdom of the Diamond Sutras or the sutras of the Buddhists, the Sahasras, and we go through the knowledge of those ancient Hindus who actually got their wisdom and knowledge from us out of ancient Shina or Shana. So when we really tap in to the fact that you have to, seek, like she's saying, that aphorism ask is something powerful in just asking, being humble and asking. It's hard for us to manifest what we want because we think it's just about the affirmation. We think it's just about the visualization. We think it's about meditation. No, it's about simply shutting your mouth, shutting your brain up, and asking, paying reverence to the divine intelligence that you are the descendant of. Ask, seeking, and then knocking. You knock, and the door will be open unto you. So smote it be, or so shall it be. As a man and woman think it, it shall be. I want to get into the seven thunders based on what Noble said. I want to dive through some of these things because, like she just mentioned about the birth cycle. This is something that's being birthed. The World Temple is giving birth. Our symbol, like I mentioned here plenty of times, is the 8-pointed star. Why the 8-pointed star? because the master teacher gave birth to the work that we doing now. I just said he went and embodied the work of the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and went and took us through the wisdom of the ancient sages, school for school. Christism, Mohammedism, and then Mosesism, and then the higher degrees all the way back to Egyptology. And now what y'all have access to openly is your true philosophy, natural philosophy, the philosophy of the true light. We are the mainstream because everybody want to mimic us, but they are not delivering. They can't replicate, duplicate none of the work, the frequency, and what we actually embed. They can come close, but it's going to be watered down because they have not done the actual work. Like I said, you don't need those Hollywood stories of our story, my story, the mystery school. You got your names out there. I won't say names. Y'all know, y'all probably know who I'm talking about. I'll leave that to y'all to figure it in or figure it out. But this is why us that have the wisdom, we don't be big time names. And there's a lot of people that know the science of Nuwabu, but they don't know how to implement Nuwabu. Nuwabu is a cultural science. It ain't just about playing dressed up like pharaohs and Egyptians. It's a cultural science. The master teacher had garments not just from our ancient cultures, but this ancient future thing that we here to discuss, because we giving birth to a ancient future. So we got to go through those layers. We got to talk about what it actually is. That 8-pointed star, what it's symbolic of. Those holy keys, as I talked about before, what are they symbolic of? I put the scriptures in the chat before. This is to open and close certain doors. Ask, seek, knock, the door be open unto you. You got the holy keys. You see the symbol of the keys. You see the symbol of divine nature. You have access to that sacred 8. Some people just use the symbol because they want to be tapped into sacred geometry, but don't have the actual, the knowledge of the prophecy, the prophethood, the Sicily, the knowledge of the bloodline, our story, not his story, our historic records, our sacred records, our Akashic records. And we just going off of those actual Akashic records, and not this Hollywood conscious community or whatever you want to call it story of our ancient ancestors and deities, as if we are outside of them and as if they're not inside of us, or we're not descendants of them. So we got to understand that real heavy, like she's saying. You got to come seeking. You got to come in wanting this. And I'm glad you said that, because in my mind, I'm not chasing people down to come. I got too many people to reach. I got too many things that I have to do, responsibilities to take care of, catch up to, other things, on a personal level to prepare for what's actually coming. There's a lot of things that's been put in place. Yeah, of course we 10 years ahead of time, but we still got things in the now time to take care of. So I can't stop and chase after one individual. They got to bring they, good old butt in. The prophet talked about that. But I'm glad you brought, that point up, because, Noble Simone is one of the people that put the foot in my butt, saying, like another brother did to me 10 years ago, and really, shifted me to the focus that I have now. Because 10 years ago, was it 2023 now? Yeah, about almost 10 years ago, I thought I would be making music with and doing engineering and all that kind of stuff, but mainly making music. I have a lot of music associates. in the music industry. But I'm not out, you know, hobnogging and hobnogging all, with out with and trying to be out with the celebrities. I'm not concerned about getting money and then I left and made it out the hood. That ain't what this is about. If we got a revealing that's being revealed to us, a divine plan that's being revealed to us, and we got work to do. I didn't know that we'll end up doing all that I ended up doing. Architecture, doing developments, blueprints for cities, actually drafted out blueprints for cities, building financial infrastructure systems, and going into the polymathic work that need to be done. And being engineer of systems. We are ancient civil engineers. We build cities. We give birth to cities. We give birth to planets. That eight-pointed star is symbolic of us giving birth to the 144,000. We are that anointed congregation that are gathered. I got hit by lightning in 2007. Very symbolic time. For those that, read the right knowledge for the right wisdom, for the right understanding, know the frequency and the call that's coming out, that's being emitted through the voice, through the work that's being done here every week, because we got to balance it out. And that eight-pointed star is symbolic of the congregation of the future, of the world future, the global village of people. Not the world, the new world order, the one world government. You are the inheritor of all those things. So they're gonna call you, weird and sell out and this and that and the third, and project everything that they do onto you as what happened to our master teacher. Especially with all the controversy that we know that the Zionist elite participated in, and then somehow it got reverse engineered on the master teacher, but through the work of our own people. The Noon Project is about giving birth to those divine intelligent babies. It's about giving birth to a new world. We got to breed out the self-hate. We got to breed out that deviation, that pack, those that are stuck on thinking with the logos. The prophet introduced us to the Circle 7 logos. The master teacher brought us into non-ether, new logical way of thinking, or prepared us for it. Prepared us for the equalizer, which is Nuabu, which is 6. And we know the number 6 is equalism for us. Equalism. And some go into that philosophy, get mixed up about it. So we can say being equitable, if you don't want to call it that, or mutualism. And for us in the Islamic fashion, or the Moorish Science Temple of America, it's Islamicism, peace, the Zodok, the Sadiq, the Sayyid, the Sidi, our royal family all over the planet, the bridge. Because when you make it to the fourth dimension and you start to understand the fourth dimension, we're going into higher dimensions of living, and we start to understand these things, the technology that's being put out in front of us, they're giving birth to something, and it's coming from a higher dimension. So you got to have people around you that already operate on that mental plane to come in, speak through a voice box, a human bashar, a human flesh, and give you that divine message, but in the form of teaching with clarity, not just the Hollywood TV show, and entice you with a story of what someone translated. No. This our language. This ain't no I had to retranslate our language. This is our ancient record. So with that, I want to go into these seven thunders because there's a lot I want to touch on for us tonight. On top of this, I say I love y'all coming in, waking it up, and really just doing what we normally do here, bringing those divine messages to fruition. Because it is what it is. We don't have this plan. There's no pre-programming, as I say all the time. We just go with spirit feeds us. You tapping in, we know what spirit is, wanting you to bring to the table and speak up on. That's why I say, don't have no problem with tapping in, interrupting me, and interjecting whatever. Just do it respectfully, as we ask, and come in and speak and lay that message and convey that message that's transmitting through you. That's been, building up throughout the whole week, and put it out there. Because as we go along, it's gonna get hectic. Go ahead, two piece.
Yes, sir. I was just waiting on the right time because I didn't want to have the class or the beloved holy day end. Happy holy day, everyone. End without sharing with this. Um, a couple of days ago, the Pope made an announcement that he was rescinding the papal bull. And that's something that I know people who know, like yourself, Dr. Lawiy, about the, what it is that the papal bull is and how very, very important, it is going to be, for us to be able to, share with the people moving forward. Because these things, in my opinion, they have to, we have to see that coming full circleness, where it is that the all Allah source is not only, opening the doors for the people, those who have an ear to hear, to come through the door, but now you have more of a tangibleness as it relates to this papal bull. So I wanted you to speak on that. I wanted to know if you had heard about that because I really want to delve into it myself. I was hoping to be present to hear Taj Tariq Bey speak on it because I know that he has mastered, the science and that law as it relates to the papal bull.
Islam.
Islam.
So with that, Noble, thank you for the contribution. That actually touches on some of the things we're touching on tonight, because like I say, that 8-pointed star that we're giving birth to, which is symbolic of the world temple, the divine and national movement, which is now a divine and global movement. We have addressed the Pope specifically from this congregation. We actually do our own what they consider Papa Bulls. And for those that know about this whole global reset thing from the private side, you understand what placement we have in that. So with the Papa Bull, we've been knowing about the rescinding of it for a couple of years now. He did a form of motu proprio, which is another form of what you would call a Papa Bull, years ago, uh, discussing the rescinding of the discovery doctrine and the Papa Bull that sits behind that. Our letter pattern number 6, which is called the end of papal supremacy, explains it clearly, and it goes all the way back to the eternal treaty, where I discuss it goes back all the way to the eternal treaty that comes out of ancient Egypt between the royal family of Ramesses and the Hittite bloodline. I'll put the link in the chat for y'all so y'all can go back over it. But the the Papa Bull being rescinded years ago, and now is being voiced about it and spoken about. It's clear evidence that Pope Francis, as has been stated through a lot of the conspiracy theorists rhetoric and conversations, may be your last pope. Technically, he actually is. Now, this goes a little deeper than what most people talk about, because we are those actual body of people in this particular temple that did the work for putting the Vatican, the Jesuits, and some of them on notice, and actually having our first place holdment as the lien holders for these actual treaties based on other fraternal order treaties that we have and things like that we have established globally, the things that we have done and established on a worldwide basis. So now, with what happened last year, the end of last year, with the recalling of the money, you have to reiterate that Pepper Bull that has been rescinded. You have to reiterate that these are the calls of the end of their time. As as it say in the scriptures, Lucifer will be turned into an angel of light. Right? We know the devil will be turned into an angel of light. So they putting it out there. They have established a lot of political organizations, non-governmental organizations, and put them on the move. But you still have pushback from those who follow that faith and that way of life. It has been admitted by them that their whole way of life and faith is basically a story. I talked about this actually last Holy Day, that it's been stated numerous of times that the whole history has been a fallacy. So now you have the Pope affirming that everything that has been established based on the discovery doctrine, and them having the right through the Pepper Bull. I'll get the actual name of that particular Pepper Bull for y'all so we could have it. Give me a second, pull it up real quick. I'm gonna put the link in the chat too, so y'all get a chance to go over the Pepper Bull that was sent to them. Well, our letter patent bulletin that was sent to them, because we're able to operate with the same level of jurisdictional power. We operate in our own suzerainty and sovereignty, not just being sovereign. We are a suzerainty. I'll give y'all the definition for what that actually means too, if you don't know, so y'all can have that as well. But you want to read clearly what this is about, because like I say, y'all gonna get a lot of different explanations about it. But if you understand how precise the work of the master teacher was, this is nothing but a continuation of that, and going more into depth about I think it's the Papabul Intercatera. So I'm gonna be putting this in the chat. Give me a second. I'm trying to actually make sure it's the Papabul Intercatera. I know it's 3 Papabuls that got implemented that led up to. Okay, yeah, I'm on the wrong one. It's 3 Papabuls that led up to what you call the discovery doctrine. So that's for us is letter bulletin number 5. I'm putting the link in the chat for y'all to read it, and it explains the powers changing hand from the Justinian Codex and then further on. And now with us being in our new spirit times and the new logical way of thinking, is basically your time to rule. I don't know if y'all can see that link just put in the chat. Let me know if y'all can see it or not. I cannot see it, that it went through. Can one y'all let me know if it went through in the chat or not?
Yes, I can see it. It's there.
Okay, thank you, no. Islam. True peace, Islam Noble Oracle. I see you down there. I don't know if you want to come up, but y'all want y'all want to come up, just raise your hand, click the block of words at the top that say World Temple, become a guest member and come on stage and participate with us. If you want to contribute anything. If y'all can, if she does raise her hand, can y'all, one of y'all moderators, please bring the noble sister up if she wants to. All right, so y'all want to go over that one? We went over here. We went over it before, but it's more prevalent now with the acknowledgement of that and understanding the actual resolutions at hand that we have for us as a people, because this also goes into the monetary system, which is why we did the letter pattern bulletin for the end of papal supremacy, and then the royal resolutions that I did breaking down the Seste Quevi Trust and what they call the three crown, or the first and the second crown, which one of them includes the Ethiopicum, or the Ethiopicum kaput, which is the head. The make sure I got the right one, y'all. Right one. Guess it is number 5. I know number 7 explains the resolutions. I'll put it in there as well for y'all. But number 5 goes over more of the history of the papacy. And like I said, it starts from talking about Alexandria and the Justinian Codex, and with us now having our own codex and circumventing that with all of the ancient codex, such as the Hebraic codex, the Shamash codex, which is not just the Torah, but it's the actual codex of the Torah. So it's the manuscript before it became an actual, or considered an actual book. Let me just get it, because I'll be scrolling today. Right. Okay, yeah, so you have the Dum Devaris, which was done by King Alfonso to Portugal. Then you have the Romanus Pontifex, which a lot of people are familiar with, which is when the church or the Vatican put all of the souls on the planet in captivity under their jurisdiction. And then you have what they call the Intercaterra, as I mentioned earlier, which was the discovery doctrine and what we call today manifest destiny in historic teachings of America in the school system. And a lot of people don't learn about these things. They don't learn about what actual manifest destiny. They didn't even learn about manifest destiny in school, which goes back to this thing that we giving birth to something, because we went on a deviated path with this fallacy for us to be giving birth to what we're about to be giving birth to here today. And this is why, like I say, you have all those different groups out there, but y'all got to come home to the fundamental science of what the prophet put together so you can stand on your square. Because it is the sovereign theocratic government body that has the public and lawful acknowledgement, not just here in America, but also worldwide. So it's going to take for one temple, one prophet, don't matter what part of the divine movement they are a part of. We all together represent one supreme grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are the real, what they call Universal Church. We are the real, what they call, well, what we call now an Omniversal Church. We are the omniversal gathering of the people globally, back in our own proper jurisdiction. There were some things that had to be put in place on a global level. So we went and done that work. We went and connected ourselves with those bodies of people. There's not a circle that we haven't inherited the work of because of what we have done by putting out the Noon Project. You got people to the point now that, like I said, they copying and imitating our Noon Project, the True Light Project, this project of this divine birth of the future. So it all ties together. We're not going off the path of the topic, and we still about to get to these seven thunders because it all ties together. So you have the treaty, what they call the secret treaty, or is known as the secret treaty, that was done in 1494 in Portugal and Spain, called the Treaty of Tordesillas. And then you had another treaty by Pope Julius in 1506 called Papabul e Que Pro Bono Passes, that was done. So you had more Papa Bulls on those main three, but those three Papa Bulls that I just read earlier is the foundation of what we call the notice of discovery and the discovery doctrine. We actually reversed that and gave a notice of what we call the discovery doctrine. You have a movement and organization called the recovery doctrine, but we are the actual body temple that actually put out a letter patent in the Papa Bull, and now it's been acknowledged on um been acknowledged through the lean system, which is uniform not just here in America but throughout the whole entire planet. Those uniform commercial codes extend throughout all of maritime law throughout the whole entire planet. And the way that we structured it is to where it transcends jurisdictions. So it's not just about sticking in one jurisdiction of operation, because that's the power that you have behind you with understanding the theocratic government body politic that you have globally, not just here in America. Moors, like the prophets say, are in the blood. Indigenous African people, black people, whatever you want to call us and make reference to. We're not here to argue with our people every 5 minutes because they use the word black. Whatever you make reference to us as indigenous peoples, black, brown peoples, the Hamu, the Tanahisi, Namu, whatever. We are in the blood of each and every culture, even those in the oceanic and Pacific islands. From Mauritania to Tomorrowland in the Philippines, all over. So this is why I say specifically here, you're going to get more intricate information versus when you go out and other people try to break it down, because we're participants in helping these things change over. We're participants in helping push the financial system further into the hands. Prophets say when things come back and, back into the light, everything will be in the favor of the Moor. So all of the work of the indigenous peoples across the world, all these organizations that are helping out, you all inherit that as Moorish people, but you have to know your proper placement and footing in it and be able to explain it in a practical way, not this sovereign citizen rhetoric, not this secure party creditor rhetoric, not this patriotism rhetoric. You have to understand your history globally, not even this American Indian rhetoric that is being given to our people. And I'm not debunking them or saying anything against them, but understanding that we represent a royal people, not an encaptured, not a slave. We're not Slavic people. We are royal. If we standing on the law that we have before us, it's not the first time we went through bondage, kidnap, slavery, etc., whatever. That still did not change the fact that you are royal. That is an axiom of law. That is a maxim of law. The axioms get more deeper because they tie into natural law. They may be philosophical, but they are still a part of those maxims of law. That supernatural law, as I mentioned last week, you have natural law, physics, the science of physics, the study of physics, and then you have your real metaphysics. But we got to get our people to understand the basics before they start trying to jump off the deep end with metaphysics and throw a bunch of metaphysical stuff at our people. We got to understand these basic things like this that is coming to play for us in the change, the discovery doctrine. Now you have your doctrine of recovery. You have your letter pattern, your outline papyrus, as we call it. It's a papyrus. Your papyrus has standing in law because the way it is written. We are those ancient scribes and ancient sages. So when we start doing things the way the original law structure was, which was based on faith-based and religious or theocratic structure, and before that, nucratic, nomocratic, and meritocracy, all of that come out of ancient Egypt, all that come out of ancient Sumeria. All that goes back to us, as I mentioned last week, this past holy day, with going into Enlil and Enki and Nanar and Nanamu and all of our ancient Anunnaki and Elohim family, our Thunderbirds, our Kachinas, wherever you are on the planet, and the deities that we make reference to under those ancient languages, which all tie together, which is why you have pyramids all over the planet that actually connect to each other. We all are saying the same story that's written on the wall. So now this is what's giving birth, because that discovery doctrine is turning back into the recovery, the redemption. And we taking it further. This is why I say y'all got to get on the good foot with pushing your own science that came before their psychology. If you continue to let psychologists do the psychological analysis on this planet, then you keep putting yourself back under their way of thinking. You keep putting yourself back under their definitions and their words and their mental slavery for you. The prophet said, I came to wake you up from mental slavery. Like I said, the master teacher put the microscope on it and took us deeper. Now we got to go much, much, much more deep. And you got to understand your actual scientific field of study and bring your Moorish people in. Like I said before, you got a lot of, Moors that are considered jailhouse lawyers. They need to actually become Moorish councils, law jurists, etc. Attorneys, Moorish law, lawyers, etc. They go to Jewish lawyers and they brag about having Jewish lawyers. Well, it's time for us to big up our Moorish lawyers. But our brothers and sisters got to get it right. That's the message that has to be put out there. Even if they know the law real well, it's them new Moors that's coming with their eyes wide open that know what to do. The prophet say, bring something economic. If you want to do all the neology, that's cool. But we got to create standards that are accepted and implemented through systems around the world. You are about to get ready to inherit the earth, and your butt got to be prepared. You about to have a baby, and you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared, like it said in the scriptures, like a bride to the groom. You got to be prepared. Somebody got to do the preparing or be a signal for that preparing. This is why we that little voice in the wilderness. So if y'all want me to go more deep on the discovery doctrine, I can, but got to stick on scheduled time. So I'm gonna go into these 7 thunders that tie into this stuff from the Holy Tablet. If y'all are not familiar with that, I'm gonna put the link to that as well in the chat I'm gonna put this other link here. Right, so y'all have that. What? I guess put it twice. And that's resolution number 7. And then I'm gonna put the holy tablets in here as well. Because there's been a lot of things that our people try to implement far as law when it comes to doing the law, but we're not moving and operating as a royal court. This is why we stick to the fundamentals of the prophet. This is why I say y'all got to come into the fundamental literature of the prophet. There's a lot of things that's thrown out at you before you even understand that the prophet got the Moorish literature for us. The prophet gave us the one-on-one Quran questions. You got the Circle 7 Holy Quran, which I want to get into here tonight too, as well, with the L's Holy Injiyl before we close out. But the discovery doctrine, that Intercatera and that Dum Davaris, those are the foundational documents behind the kingdom of Christendom. And that's what establishes Christendom, and reason why we say we giving the church and Christianity back to the Europeans, because that is their jurisdiction. Their jurisdiction that you're giving back to them. You're giving them back their jurisdiction. This is why we got to clear it up for our people who get caught up in, well, I ain't no Muslim and I ain't following no Islam. We're not talking about modern day Islam that you think and know of. I done heard too many grand sheiks, adepts, Moorish people, Moorish freelancers, refugee Moors say the same thing. But it's time to get our people to understand being a part of the temple is where your jurisdiction lies. Being a part of that theocratic jurisdiction is where your political status change actually lies. You want to change your political status? Not this status correction crap they selling y'all. Because they selling y'all a mentality that's not going to help you in the future. You can't bring that into the future. We going back into a sun cycle. So I'm going to dive into this. What we call the 7 thunders is also actually in the book of Revelations as well. Anciently, to us indigenous peoples, is known as the 7 thunders or the 7 plagues. And the master teacher states the 7 thunders have been recorded by the ancients for thousands of years by the Hopis, Yamasi. The Nuwabians have logged these thunders as a sign of the coming of a new planet. We giving birth to a new planet. We renewing our mind, the reformation, the replenishing. They calling it a reset. They telling y'all what's happening. Called Nibiru, the coming in of a new era, the sign of the end of the present world ruled by evil, and the resurrection of the ancient mysteries of Egypt. Atlantis rising again in the heart of Georgia, in a place called Wahani. There's these golden spaces and places, these golden landmarks across the planet that's symbolic of the golden age. Where you gonna be? What we gonna be doing? How we gonna be doing it? Who we gonna be doing it at? These are the reasons why I'm asking these questions and trying to sprinkle it out a little bit as we go, because sometimes it's too much for our people at one time. Like Noble Simone said earlier, it can be a data overload, and it definitely is for those for those that are new to this, especially in the practical manner of it, not that Hollywood story and visions that are being painted by a lot of the conscious community and those that just speculate. All right, it says these signs are the signs of the times, recorded by the ancient Natiru of ancient Egypt and passed down through time. They are called the thunders or the plague. The first thunder is much, which includes much starvation, sickness, starving children, homelessness, and disease. This already passed and continued and continued. So it's like the Big Bang. Though that wave is continuing. It gets worse with every thunder. This is why we seeing the things we see, and they continue to get worse. We're going through the storm before going through that passing of the stone. I'm sorry, not storm, but the stone. before we go into the 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 new way of living, passing of the stone, the birth. The second thunder is the sky becomes sick with holes in it that look like sores. Lung disease spread. Breathing problems occur. Green mist coming from holes. Polluting water. Growing deformities. Bacteria in the water, which we call little devil. Even in ancient Africa, when you get sick, we call that demon. Sea animals begin to die. Fishes are trying to get out of the water. Water becomes death to them. Physical and spiritual illness. Psychological parasite. Mental parasite. Vampires. Energy vampires. Mental vampires. This is why this ancient wisdom and ancient records is very prevalent, so you know how to pinpoint them, avoid them by their characteristics. Mutations in animals. This is still the second thunder. Going into the third thunder is many species, notations, and animals, or mutations. Animals will be mutating. Crossbreeding in species. Y'all got the cat and the raccoon shacking up together. Death the frog, honeybee, turtles, deformed human multiply. Genetic splicing and cloning. This is the third thunder. So this has been happening for a while. The fourth thunder, the sign of the twins, called Yah and Wei. One guards the South Pole, and the other guards the North Pole. Havoc begins with these poles, the melting of the ice cap. Havoc begins with these poles. Structures break down. Religion, moral and financial. The devil wins. El Nino takes over. El Nino took over in the fourth thunder. For those that know, the door is on the fourth dimension. So you can go through the door of Mat or Ma'at, whatever you want to call it. Zodokite, Sadiq, whatever. Tiferet, for those that look into the Kabbalah or the tree. Or you can end up on the opposite tree, which is the Kipla, the tree of evil, darkness. So it's not a coincidence that on the fourth thunder, you have the signs of the twins, Yah, which means righteousness or good, and Wei, disagreeable, good and or agreeable and disagreeable. And the devil winds start to take over. So the things you're seeing on the media, the concerts that are taking place, and you're seeing spirits flying around concerts, this is what they're talking about. This ain't something Dr. York or the master teacher came up with. This is ancient things, like I say, the writings that are on the wall. You just had somebody that was able to interpret it and put it back into divine. Put it back into that lotus flower that connects us all over the world. Not just one faith-based way of looking at something, not just one school of thought, but a global, the whole entire order of nature, the divine order of nature, which we call, like I said, Ma'at. All right, thunder number 5 is 4 great people will perish. Floods, lightning storms, tornadoes, landslides, hurricanes, hail in the summer, forest fires, children killing children, children killing their parents rampant, insanity and murders, an upsurge in drug addiction, and demonic revivals parading themselves as righteous. El Nina, little girl, will come. We know that's a big storm. A storm. So these things have taken place. And right now we're going through the 6th and the 7th thunder. We have went through the 5th. We just left the 5th. We just left the 5th. We was coming out of the 5th in the 60s and the 70s. And we phasing into one thunder into another. Phasing out of one thunder and the phasing in of another thunder. And that's what y'all are witnessing. The plague of one wave shifting into another wave. The 6th thunder is Changes occurred. The star people return. Signs in the sky, new planets, new galaxies, meteorite storms, climatic alterations, global warming, spiritual revivals, presence of divine, disregard and respect for present world governments, leadership, and politics. So a lot of our people are going to get caught up in that anarchism, that anarchist way of thinking. Well, I just need to be rebellious. The Most High, if you, those who know those sacred records and stories, we was not warned to rebel against divine law or just law in general. We was told to rebel against Luciferian, those that have a animalistic way of thinking with the fallen angel Animal. So the seventh thunder is the end of the world as you know it, the year 2030. We in the year 24. We going into the year 2024. I wrote a book in the year 2015 signaling the year 2020 and beyond. Slapped the pyramids that was on the land in Georgia out there and said, hey, this is the clear vision. Preparing for this remnant right here for y'all to go and see. For I know one. I know all is. All the way down to I knowing 9. The Ba, the Ka, the Ka, etc. Those Egyptian mysteries. Really understanding the actual mystery school and not this watered down Egyptology that they have been giving us as a people. Because our language, the tree language, which is where they get the concept of the Kabbalah, which is derived from the Talmud, which was taken out of the Torah and the law of the Torah, which has nothing to do with this oral gossip, because that's all it is, of metaphysics. And none of them notice, because they think they're passing high frequency knowledge, and you just passing around ancient hogwash. And they accuse our prophets of being possessed by jinns and telling stories, when actually it is the people that think they're conscious. It is the people that think they left the body of the Most High, that left the congregation of the Most High, and became enlightened to something else. This is why I say you never stop being in the school or the bosom of Allah or the bosom of the divine creator. Where else would you get it? Or are you just putting yourself through Jahannam? Hell and heaven is not a place you go to, it's a place you grow to. So I think I put that in the chat as well. I know we need to go over these verses in the Quran. Like I said, I want to dive into El's Holy Quran and Circle 7 Quran before the night's over with. Because if y'all not hearing the message as it keeps reverberating through and it keeps tying back in full circle to the same thing, I don't know what's wrong with your ears. I don't know what's wrong with your inner hearing. You got the inner hearing, you got the inner seeing for understanding. Inner hearing, inner seeing is nothing new. It's nothing new. Now the concept of understanding, because we know who pioneered the word overstanding, may be new for some people, but it is the direction for us that are standing on mid-formation. The teachings that was supposed to come for those who graduated through these 3 schools of thought. Because like I said, we're not going and repeating no 30 years. Like I said last week, we're not doing that. I'm here to bring in the cipher that's supposed to be ciphering at this day and point in time. Not what happened, 30 years ago. We ain't going into all the religious stuff. We got the text for that. Catch up as we go. Because as we start to think new logically, you're going to be looked at as different. Way different than how everybody else is. You're going to see things that all the people around you don't see to understand. I don't care if they sharing posts about the trees talking to each other, or uh whatever great speaker that we had in the past 30 years, or great leader that we so-called had in the past 30 years. None of them are prepared or preparing you for the great inheritance. None of them have projects solely dedicated to it. They can't even give you the name and the term for it. You're listening and hearing the embodiment, and then you have a boatload of work behind behind the things that's been done for this. This is why I say you gotta come into your own now, because y'all hearing the call, y'all getting the call, but I can't do the work for you. And I dang sure wasn't given the assignment and the divine mission to go and drag your butt in here. If you remember, I stood a post. And when we was sent on a mission to grab somebody, that was because the whole, future was was being affected. But it's time we stand guard at the temple. We stand, guard at the door, at the gate of the kingdom. Those who practice a lie will not be led in the kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. All right, so last week we read chapter 7 of El's Holy Quran. This week is chapter 8, Al-Allah, the Most High, which got changed to chapter 87 in the mistranslations of it. And it's not a long chapter, so we're going to get through it real quick, y'all. The commentary comes after that, but first things first, y'all know how it goes. Begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the source, Allah, the Rahman, who is the most merciful. And the commentary states, the commentary states, glorify the name of your Rabb, the Most High. He colored and made his creation perfect. He calms them and brings forth herbage. Elohim will make Muhammad a reader. Allah knows the hidden and manifested things. Elohim leads humans to the easy way, not the hard way, not disease, which means going against the easy way. That's what true disease is. Got nothing to do with all this, food inspection or none of that crap. Just live an easy, peaceful life. You had people that ate red meat and lived all the way to their hundreds and 20s. All that got nothing to do with that. Man can't live by bread alone. Man can't live by food alone. It's the divine word that you need that's gonna help your butt live long. Cause you're gonna have that conscious. You're gonna be a conscious person. You're gonna have that positive voice in your head saying, "Hey, you got to do this. You got to stop listening to that dummy over there on the disagreeable angel on your shoulder, because he's gonna have you screwed up. You gotta listen to this one over here. So get your butt up, start exercising, work out a little bit. But when you get done, you're gonna get on your knees and learn how to work tapping in. You're gonna do this taful, what we call taful, supplication, and a little prayer, but mainly supplication, because you're not here to be a prayer of no thought form. All right, it says Elohim leads humans to the easy way. Whoever dreads the source will remember the Qur'an. So those people that hate Islam, they gonna remember the Qur'an and the things that it said. Like, man, the Muslims did that. Man, they was right about a lot of things. Their religion might have been off to me, but that book, it had something connected to it. Especially the Christians who talk crap 24 hours and shoot subliminals about the Quran. And especially even them people that are not Christians, or just people in general, they'll be like, they worship another God and this, that, and third. Yeah, people worship different gods, but when you talk about Allah, not in the anthropomorphic version, but the true Allah, which comes from the word Elohim, and you definitely got a lot of Hebrews, or more so Hebrew Israelites, that are part of the fanatical group, not your real Hebrews and not your real Israelite people, because ain't no such thing truly as Hebrew Israelites. It's just you Hebraic and you're an Israelite, but you can be a Nubian or a melanated Islamic Hebrew, because Abraham and what we call in Ibri or Hebrew language or Hebraic language is Milia Ibrahim, the way of Ibrahim, or Milia Ilah, the way of Allah, the way of Elo, the way of God, the way of peace, the easy way, that way, the right way. Right is right, wrong is wrong way. So they gonna remember this because they are the part of the dividing, the Hegelian dialectic, dividing and conquering, trying to separate our people through divine and create more divisions between us. We got every little thing now that divides us. They add on more and more what they can to keep it. I like Nike, well, I like Reebok. More division. All right, so the ayat, this is Surah 8, and we starting with the ayat, and it states, glorify, Elohim says, the name of your Rab, who is master, Anu, Aliyun, the Allah, Elyun El, the Most High. He, not we, who created and made his creation perfect, and he who determines the nature of them and calms them, and he who brings forth herbage for the animals. So after that, he, Allah, made it into dark stubble. We, the Elohim Anunnaki, will make you, Muhammad, a reader, so that you won't tansa'a, forget. Tansa'a is to be forgiven. Also where the word zakar comes from, meaning the forgetful one, he who forget, zakar, which is another name for Adam. Except that which Allah pleases, surely he, not we, the source, knows the manifested and the hidden things, and we, not he, the Elohim leads you to al-Yusra, the easy way, Nuwabu, the prophetic way of living. So be a dikra, reminder, because there are benefits in al-dikra'ah, the reminder. Remind others. He who fears will remember. So if you love your creator, you definitely gonna remember the Qur'an that was channeled down by automatic writing. The next commentary says the most miserable will avoid the Qur'an. So these gonna be the same people that's forced to remember that book, but it's gonna be too late to even read it. For a lot of them, it says they will be entered into the nar, which is the fire, the disagreeable fire. Whoever tazaka will be prosperous. The Inosites prefer the hayat of the dunya. The end is better. All of this can be found in the Suhuf of Abraham and Moshe. So the ayat read, and the most ashaka, miserable ones will avoid it, the Quran, who will be yasla'a, cast into the huge pit of al-nar, which is the fire. Then he will neither yamut, die, nor yaya, live in it, the pit of fire. Certainly he who tazakka, purifies himself, will be prosperous. And he who dakara, remembers the name of his Rab, Adonia, or master, and keeps up salutation and worship. In fact, you, the Inosite, prefer the Hayat, which is life, of al-dunya, the physical world. So that means the mortal that don't have DNA connection to their ancestors, the Elohim, prefer the superficialities of the physical world. The next ayah says, in al-akhirat, the end is kayyir, better, and it is in abka, everlasting state. Prophet say, I'll return you back to the state where I found you. This is what he's talking about, that love of the life, the love of the world. Surely all of this is to be found in the first pages of the Suhuf, which is the Enuma Elish, and the Gilgamesh epic, Adafa, Itana. descendants of Ishtar, Nergal, and Ashkigul, Atra Hasis, the tablets from before, which is the holy tablets, y'all. So that's why I said we're gonna slowly start getting into it, because people read it, but they're not going through it and breaking it down with each other. Especially for the purpose of the revealing of things that's coming. You got people saying the master teacher don't even want us reading that no more, and that is far from the truth. Got a lot of people that came, and became disruptive, just like with the Nation of Islam and other different groups of people that have been invaded by this counterintelligence, and those that participate in vain discussions, gossip, slander, lewdness, everything of the lower self, have came to create division. All right, so it says the pure pages. The next ayah says the pure pages of Abraham, Suhuf of Abraham, the book of generation, and Moshe al-Torah, the law, the Torah, the Loha Moshe, or El Loha Moshe. Surika Alahu El Azim, meaning Allah is the greatest, or the righteous, Allah, greatest. We know God is the greatest. So when they talk about the divine creator, this is why I say when you're in the bosom of Allah, you're not done. You got books to read. You got things to study. You got sacred records to study. You still got a skill set to build up. You got a position to take in the divine order of life. You got to learn how to work that divine position. You got to scrape your arms and elbows. You ain't done. You ain't graduated yet. You got to come amongst those who've been doing that work, who fell off the road and bumped their head a couple times on the way and on the sarat, on the path, doing the divine work, building the house, and fell off the roof, getting shocked. Especially me, getting hit by lightning, but trying to fix the electric, like a crazy husband, and shocking yourself, knocking yourself across the room. You gotta go through those learning pains, those growing pains. You gotta go through that, because you got work to do still. Not just learning, still got work to do. This is how you master the karma of this lifetime. Your reincarnated self is just a speck in the things of what you have to do. That's just fuel for you to do and take care of your mission here in this day and time. People so big about being this deity and that deity and this reincarnation. If you are, then where to work at? Where to work at? Taking up these names and titles and attributes, and they have meaning. They have power. It's power in that name, Yeshua, right? Then it's power in that name that you're rendering yourself. These words are living words. We are living embodiment principles of divine nature, which is based on our new logical way of thinking. So with that, I want to jump back to the Circle 7 Holy Quran. That ties into, like I said, the message of tonight, which these chapters is divinely structured, y'all. I've been noticing that for a while now too, but it just gets more crazy and crazier as we go. Because like I said, it's not a scripted program, and this ain't a prepared thing. I ain't do like TD Jakes and them and prepare y'all with a message for the week. I ain't do that. It's straight off straight off the divine mind. Say this, go into that, open up. Now we can't have, scheduled speakers. We need that. Especially with, people like Noble Simone that know how to hold the flow, especially and express themselves, and others that can be guest speakers and come in and hold the flow. But we not coming in with a scheduled speech or a prescripted speech. The only prescription going down here is the download that's being channeled through to speak. That's about it. So let's get into this Circle 7 Holy Quran, y'all. Like I said, I wanted to get into it tonight before we get into our holy instruction, because we have to understand some things that are in here. We need to be reading this more and more. We need to be reading this more and more. So Spirit say go ahead and read the beginning of Christianity, which ties into tonight's message of the Papa Bulls and tonight's question really about the Papa Bulls, because we gotta understand the history of what we're dealing with. And then y'all want to read that end of Papal supremacy, because I walk y'all through history in a clear-cut way and a timeline that cannot be refuted. Undisputable facts. Not just actual facts, as they like some of them like to make reference to, but undisputable. So this is chapter 46, called The Beginning of Christianity. And it reads, the foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Roman nations founded the first church, of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth, for seeking to redeem his people from under the Roman yoke and law. Now in this Circle 7 Holy Quran I got, this is all highlighted in black, bold letters, black. Pay attention. That's what that means. Especially to that first verse in chapter 45. No, that's chapter 46. Chapter 46. And that number 46, important number. Those that know. But the next ayat, the next verse reads, Jesus himself was of the true blood of the ancient Canaanite and Moabites and the inhabitants of Africa. So this is affirming what we talked about this past week, this past Sunday, and the importance of the nationality of Ruth. Jesus was of the blood of the Moabites, resurrected into a new tribe, the tribe of Judah, reincarnated. So the next verse, the next ayat says, seeking to redeem his people in those days from the pressures of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, Rome crucified him according to their law. Then Europe had peace for a long time until Muhammad I came upon the scene and fulfilled the works of Jesus of Nazareth. The holy teaching of Jesus was to the common people, to redeem them from the greater pressures of the hands of the unjust, that the rulers and the rich would not oppress the poor. Also that the lion and the lamb may lay down together, and neither would be harmed when morning came. These teachings were not accepted by the rulers, neither by the rich, because they loved the principles of the 10 Commandments. Through the 10 Commandments, the rulers and the rich live, while the poor suffer and die. The lamb is the poor people, and the lion is the rulers and the rich. And through love, true peace, freedom, and justice, all men are one and equal to seek their own destiny, and to worship under their own vine and fig tree, after the principles of the holy and divine laws of their forefathers. All nations of the earth in these modern days are seeking peace, but there is but one true and divine way that peace may be obtained in these days. And it is through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, being taught universally to all nations, all land. Prophet clearly is stating that the peace, the Islamicism, or the Islam we talking about is a universal message. We honor all true and divine prophets. So you don't just become skilled in learning the rhetoric. You got to know how to wield the spirit of this knowledge. That's what Nuwabu is about. Science of the prophecy. You got to know how to tap into that divine wisdom of the Hikmah, which we call Hua or Hu. One of those great questions for those that are seeking is, who is Anu? So we also like to read most of the time here the divine origin of the Asiatic nations, which would let everyone know who are also included globally as the Moors. It's not just who we call as the Moabites. You have more people than that. I'm not gonna read that particular chapter for tonight, but that's the next chapter, or the chapter. That's the actual chapter 45 before chapter 46. Y'all want to read that in your own time and keep going over that so you can refresh your mind when someone says the Moors is from here. The Moors, no, we from all over. We go all the way back to the prophet Adam. We are the people of Mu. We are the people of Lemuria. We are the people of Ganawa, or the Gan, Eden, Urdu, or Tiamat, or Tamare, the land, the earth, the water, the fire, the land. We are the land people, the earth people, the water people, the fire people. They showed you on the TV shows and movies, Fire Nation, Water Nation, etc. I went into it last week with the solar people, the lunar people, the stellar people, the earth people, earth science, solar science, lunar science. They call it necromancy. You got lunamancy, you got solarmancy, you got lithomancy. Like I said, we the original creators of the computers. Most of the data all throughout the universe, or the Omniverse, is in crystal, which make up your computers. All right, so here it says, let's go into the holy instructions from the prophet about knowing yourself, because for those that are learning thyself, you're going to have to seek, go within, or you're going to go without. Yeah, you can learn a lot from outside. There's a lot of knowledge that comes outside, but that information has to be processed even within. So it don't matter if it's intellect, or mid mid-intellect, like we like to say, mid formation, because you still gonna have to be in that mid formation to process it. This is why the pyramid means in the middle. Another definition for it is in the middle. Noon, neutral, in the middle, but also symbolic of going into the higher Nuwabu, which is preparing you for the higher knowledge. All right, so this is actually chapter this is chapter 35. I'm sorry, yeah. I think this is chapter 36, y'all. Specifically, it's the holy instructions from the prophet to know thyself. And it reads, weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O children of the dust, Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thy frame, thine frame. Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy creator with awe, and rejoice before him with reverence. Wherefore, of all creatures art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his work? Wherefore art thou to behold, but that thou mayest admire them? Wherefore to admire, but that thou mayest adore there in thy creator? Wherefore is consciousness reposed on thee alone, and whence it is derived to thee? It is not in flesh to think, it is not in bones to reason. The lion knoweth not that worms shall eat him, the ox perceiveth not that he is fed for slaughter. Something is added to thee, unlike to what thou seest. Something informs the clay. Higher than all is the object of thy senses. Behold, what is it? The body remaineth it perfect after it is after it is fled. Therefore, it is no part of it. It is immaterial. Therefore, it is eternal. It is free to act. Therefore, it is accountable for its action. Knoweth it the ass the use of food, because his teeth mile down the herbage, or standeth it the crocodile erect, although his backbone is straight as thine. Allah formed thee as he formed thee. After them, all were thou created. Superiority and command were given thee over all, and of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. Know thyself in the pride of his creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. Behold a part of Allah himself within thee. Remember thine own dignity, nor dare descend to evil and to meanness. To meanness, what a lot of our people caught up in. Who planted terror in the tail of the serpent? Who clothed the neck of the horse with thunder? Even he who had instructed thee to crush the one under thy feet and to tame the other to thy purpose. The food chain, understanding nature, understanding yourself. When Yahshua fed people, he would talk to the creatures or the animals, so they was given in reverence to the people. The animals actually sacrificed themselves to feed the people. If we understand the relationship that we have with the birds and the bees. So with that, y'all, we're gonna go into these holy instructions. Just wanted to touch on that because it circumvents what we're talking about tonight in the message, and understanding that this wisdom, this knowledge is infinite. You don't just stop learning because you got some paperwork done and you think you the mastered the financial game, and you forgetting that these holy instructions is the everlasting gospel, the mission of the everlasting gospel. And that plan is what's going to help you create the solutions to bring more solutions to the solutions that we have for every problem. You got people that got a problem for every solution. Well, Houston, we don't got a problem. Houston, we got a solution. That's the point. That's the point. We not in Kansas anymore, as they say. It's funny, especially to me, because my dad and his family. My dad's side of the family, they from Kansas. My mom's side of the family is from Houston, from Texas. So Houston, we don't have a problem no more. We got a solution, and we definitely dang sure not in Kansas no more. As we travel, and we do the divine travel, we are on a divine journey with this information. So I'm gonna change the link at the top of the room, y'all. Y'all know how we do. Put the link to the school. I'm glad Sister Simone came through today. She woke it up with the conversation that needs to be had about civic virtues. But on top of that, adding in with her portion about civic engagement, which is more important because we come together to discuss these issues that are important to us as a people. Those issues are the most important thing that we got to deal with and discuss. They come together in a concert, been spend all their time and money at a Beyonce concert than they do putting that energy and attention into putting their time into being in concert about the things that we need to be civically engaged about. Oh, because that's conspiracy theories. Oh, and we get thrown in the religious fanatic pot. We get thrown in the cuckoo people pot. But at this point, with the Pope coming out, rescinding the Discovery Doctrine, calling back the money to the Vatican Bank from all assets and finance that's connected to the Vatican, which includes all of the jurisdictions all the way down to the U.S., which includes all of the missions across the world that have taken place in the name of conquering indigenous peoples globally. Globally. Y'all all have your own financial structure that you get to operate in your own free jurisdictional reign. Create. Come and create. Let's create this content that's needed. Do what we need to do to establish the universal message and get it out there further. There's a lot of other people out there doing the work with us, but they need to be informed about this project. We need to bring those that have the integrity. You got a lot of people that don't even know me and claim I'm scamming people, and ain't did no work with or for anybody or been put in a position to even scam anybody. You got people that come along, use the assets that we have created for the world, and use it in a disagreeable way. Use it to scam people out of their money. But they won't introduce you to all the paperwork, the documents, the documentation, the real programs, the real structures that's been put in place that actually makes practical sense for our people globally. And it's showing itself every day as we continue to go about. And then they take what I have shown and try to reinvent the wheel. But like I say, the work is not coming through them. So we know we got things to focus on. Like I said last week, coming to the practice of your own work. You got the school here. It's open for development. It's open for critiquing, changing, and adjusting to where it becomes more universal, but it also continues to reach our people that needs to be here and get involved in this universal work. It's a university, not just the trendy thing, but an actual university through the jurisdiction of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Got our own global currency through the jurisdiction of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Even the work that's copied through us, the quasi people that have learned to come and copy and don't know what they're doing, don't got a liquor certification in capital markets, investment banking, and none of that. Even the people that I work with got actual official certificates, whether it's as private bankers or whatever other type of certification in whatever other industry. We're doing the hard work. We're building up the skill set that we need to know so we can have a actual economic infrastructure program to build that cooperative spirit for us as a people in a global level. We might just be individual people, but the work we do is very heavy. The purpose you have in this little speck of dust called planet Earth is very heavy. You are still representative of that spark. So go within. Let those that go without continue to go without. Focus on your own internal powers that you was given. And be present. Because it's power behind your presence. You are, we are symbolic, like I said, of that phasing in of the sixth thunder. We are the spirit of the present. We are that divine presence. Like Nipsey Hussle made reference in one of his songs, you are in the presence of a divine presence. That is what we are. We know which particular oversoul angelic frequency represents this sixth thunder. And now we phasing into the seventh thunder from here to the next 5 years. I did as much documentation as I can, which none of your leaders is focused on. Not even the ones that claim to be of, Nuwabu and all the derivatives of it. They were not focused on this. They weren't focused on the new city of peace. Not as much as they claim they were, and are. Because we boots on the ground from every different portion and way and know-how of doing civil engineering and going out and gathering the people. A lot of organizations didn't get off they door knocker until they heard about the society and a global society doing this. But you can't put a name, can't put a face to it. Now they can probably put a name to it, but at this point, we don't care about slander. And they slandered the master teacher. They slandered Noble Drew Ali. You had somebody a couple weeks ago say Marcus Garvey is more famous than Noble Drew Ali. Why should we pay attention to him? More divide and conquer. Like I said last week, they had people talking about Moors as race traitors because they can't get along over political disputes. It's healthy to have that. We need to have more people get out and be politically active, like Noble Simone was mentioning earlier. We got to take political action. This is why we have our own political party based on our true life philosophy, based on a name that you hold a lot of claim to, based on an ancestral project, not just from this planet, but from nature itself, that you hold claim to, a scientific doctrine, an industry that you can develop, economic industry that you can develop, that you hold claim to, that has a presence, but is not built. You hold claim to that. That's our civic virtue. But we got to have engagement about it. We got to gather like the gods in ancient Greece. We got to gather, or ancient Athena, ancient Athens, because they learned that from us, like the gods of the Netiru, the Anunnaki, and Shinnar. The Avatara of Hindustan, and the chiefs, the Mako, the Makus, or the Olmecs, the Elmocs of America. We gathered in a global chieftain system, so it's time for us to gather again. We know what the underlying thinking is new logical way of thinking, and we got to start framing it. It has a frame. They call it a mainframe, which can relate to a mothership, which can relate to a motherboard in a computer. Humans program the computer, not the computer program you. And in the world they trying to take us in, they gonna have the computer programming you. It's this movie. Like I said, I got to get the movie before we close out. I know we running on short time frame. I will try to get that movie, put it in the chat before we close out. The name of the movie, at least, give y'all this homework for the night. I need to go watch it. They talk about it in the movie, and yeah, y'all need to really pay attention to that. But like I said, appreciate Noble Simone very greatly for bringing that to the floor tonight, because civic engagement is important in the things that have been discussed. But with that, as y'all know, we all know, Friday is the holy day of rest. Oh, you who know, when the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God and celebrate the praises of God of 10, and without stint, that ye may prosper. All temple services and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh. and ascended unto his father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and bylaws by the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the holy day temple service and meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicant. All templars, adepts, and civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual cover. Baseball caps should not be worn during the temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory in all Moorish nationals. Temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gatherings, and the teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple 101 questionnaire, and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her five senses who is able to do so. Because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation, and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional bylaws by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday School and program. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the temple 101 questionnaires and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and bylaws, along with the Moorish prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civics lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science, are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, Divine Minister, or an Assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us novites additions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy teachings of the Prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting, along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No templars or patron is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their temple Sunday temple service and meetings as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called out for by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution Act 7 in part, all templars must promptly attend their temple services and meeting and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa, Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and adjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous people. For membership, any heads of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the Prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate, what we call a public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free, not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must read the messages from their secretary and acquire the application for naturalization, which can be found on our temple website that we had pinned to the top of the room just earlier, holytemple.org. The Secretary of the Temple Jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the Temple's vast estate, or what we call a public beneficiary trust, to the new prospective civilians of the Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the Royal Council of said temple or subordinate temple. The Royal Chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the Royal Council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the Royal Council's consultation at the newcomers' gathering, Sunday school gathering on Sunday, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming holy day, temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an. called Egypt, the capital dominion of the Empire of Africa, the Moorish prayer, chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, including the one-on-one Qur'an questions for Moorish America, Asia, and Africa, the divine constitution, and bylaws, the additional laws and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, the Holy Tablet family, Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets through our Civics 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and Sacred Halls of Learning, called New University for everyone of the Global Village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the Temple's Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instruction, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate temple. All right, y'all. So it's simple as that. We know here already. We got it down packed. All that sovereign citizen rhetoric and stuff, status correction stuff. There's a process and there's a real way to change your political status to theocratic. At this point, newcratic or nucratic theocracy of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is publicly and lawfully acknowledged as a sovereign theocratic government. Not all these different empires and nations, Moorish nations that they start, which is a beautiful thing, but come and stand on what's already prepared for you. Come and get accreditation through the Moorish Science Temple of America and set up your own branch temple with your own laws and customs, as we read here just earlier, and use that to exercise that authority that you're trying to exercise. Even for those that claim to be American Indians, you are indigenous people, you are Moorish people. So you have that ability to stand on your royal jurisdiction, your theocratic jurisdiction, versus subjecting yourself and waiting to be acknowledged. The work has already been done. No need to reinvent the wheel. Even if you're starting a tribe, this is universal. We had the great law of peace in this country. We are a people of peace, regardless of how you want to spin it. So with that, let's go into the Holy Shahada, which is the proclamation of nationality, procedure, and pronunciation of one's nationality will be held on Holy Day for all civilians, denizens, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian and templars will be ordained in El Bay or Day and given his or her royal peerage title of Ken, Honorable, Lady, Noble, Nin, Naya, Prince or Princess by a Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple, which is Noble Kennick-El. Y'all can look through the membership here, find Kennick-El, send him a message on Instagram or his Twitter, and try to connect with him either on Facebook. Well, he under the same name on Facebook. You probably reach him faster on Facebook if you send him a message there. Just just so you know. But continuing, it says and state in the royal proclamation, upon conclusion of the nationality procedure, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian and templates and temple prospects stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act document that can be found in Heard's revised statute that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, and Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Draw the Prophet, and I am Moorish American, African, or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith, or Shahada, and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or template's free national name should then be added to the Temple's Book of Life as they enroll in the Civic 101 course and our complimentary World Civics Club. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik or divine minister who issued the application and card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. All right, y'all, and that can be found in the book Exodus. If you click on that link that says holytemples.org or type it in when you get a chance, and then go to World Interfaith Court, you get the explanation and the breakdown of the whole entire court and the laws that pertain to us, especially the biblical laws, the biblical philosophy of the court. We are a holy nation. We are the Am people. I explained to him many times on many recordings. Now it's on YouTube as well as here on Clubhouse and wherever else y'all want to upload it to. Put the content out there. Let it be known. Because a lot of people are mixing truth with falsehood. We are truth and falsehood strangely mixed. But now we got that straight colloquial path, straight to the straight and narrow, straight cut through, which is what the readings is about. This is why I'm saying, y'all go get caught up on the holy tablets. Y'all go get caught up on El's holy Torah. We're gonna dive more into the holy tablets here. We're gonna keep diving into the El's holy Qur'aan, as well as bringing in, more of the tablets, the pure pages, and all those different things. But actually going into them, so that way you all are, getting the information that you need clear cut. So with that, let's jump into our mandatory literature for the night, because I don't want to hold y'all all night yet. I know y'all got things to do. I don't want to end promptly to respect time for us. All right, y'all. So the prophet has messages that he wants us to read to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The prophet gave instructions to the members. Islam. The prophet says, "Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. Least they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. True peace, your divine prophet, Noble Ali. So keep on, y'all. We're going to keep on coming here and giving birth to these celestial movement, organization, works, new mind, Nubian. We are the Nubian people. That includes all Asiatic, all African, all indigenous. So your Chinese, Japanese, all your Oriental, all your brown brothers, all your brown brothers and sisters across the world, from the so-called Middle East back to Mexico. All colors of the garden represent the Nubian people. With that, I want to extend the olive branch to those that need a temple home that'll be coming in, listening to these replays and checking out every word that we say. As we say here weekly, listen all the way to the end. Listen all the way through. Catch everything. Catch the whole message for the night. We dropping and installing jewels the whole night through, even through the closing. So you want to come in, listen, and that olive branch is extended. So you want to click that block of words at the top. It says World Temple. Join us. We are a global chartered temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they will learn to love instead of hate. Come link yourselves with the family of nations. And with that, I'm going to read the prophet's message that he speaks to the nation. The prophet states, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come, good people, because our prophets sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is an open field to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of man. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you by the prophet. So that olive branch is extended, especially if you are a refugee Moor, you don't have a temple home. Come on in. Click that block of words. Come get active. Come around some active Moors. We're politically active, especially the group of Moors that I surround myself with. They out there doing the work. We here doing the work. We making proper investments. We learning proper skills. That way we could build the communities and things that need to be built. Building the economic infrastructure that needs to be built. Especially those that are developing land and developing real estate. We dang sure need to be connecting with our brothers and sisters that are attempting to do so. The prophets say some of his best Moors are still in the church. So keep your minds open about who you work with. That I'm gonna go into mandatory literature from the prophet. And I will be putting this replay as we put all the replays up on YouTube here in a bit. So that way y'all can go back and listen to it. And luckily we did it right on time because it's about to be I think they're gonna, I'm not sure, but I know Clubhouse is getting ready to change the club into houses. So y'all won't even be able to access the recordings like that anymore. I'm not sure how they're gonna do that transition, but at least we'll have our recordings of our sessions. I guess we need to have somebody download all of the school gatherings and put them somewhere too and create content for that. I'm not sure how y'all want to do that. We can discuss that probably in the temple house, but we need to grab and download all of them too as well from last year all the way to this year. And I guess we can put them in the school somewhere. I'm gonna figure out these next coming weeks before they start to delete the recordings for these clubs, and we put it in there because they're gonna shift everything to the houses and do all the features and move all the features there. So just want to give y'all that notice. But with that, we're gonna go into the warning from the prophet to all Muslims and peacemakers. The prophet states, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deed. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing the turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found them. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful way. True peace, Noble Ali. With that, before we go into this last piece of literature, y'all, and we close out for the night, I'm going to change the link at the top of the room for those that would like to join in the royal audience officially. It is less than a coffee. We need finance to raise a nation, but we don't have to send ourselves broke doing such. And all of this goes to us developing the temple, especially starting with the website. Let me change the link. I'll go into this last mandatory message profit. Right. So we definitely will be investing in gold, but we also will be developing real estate projects and all those different type of things. Not just here, but eventually all over the world, bringing in ministers that are doing the work. There's going to be a group that end up, working with me as I continue to do more projects and deals and facilitate those. I'm going back into, curating work from the original things that I was taught when I first got into business, which is marketing and things like that. Doing automation. That was one of the first things I got introduced to in the entrepreneurship journey. I started at an early age doing marketing. So I'm getting back acclimated with that, as well as building the skill of acquisitions and property management. Not more or less on the property management, but acquisitions and how we can go into acquiring land and just building that up, building that skill set up, doing projects, getting projects under our belt as a family office for our congregation. And this is why I say you want to keep yourself open-minded about who you work with, especially if there's people that are skilled. This is why I surround myself with the people that are skilled in business, especially in real estate and finance and in the trade market especially. So with that, we're going to go into this last mandatory message from the prophet. Then we're going to close out with prayer, y'all. Any last contribution I want to add in? Don't want to keep y'all here all night. I want y'all to enjoy the rest of the night with y'all family, friends. Make the most of this holy day. Make the most of the rest of your day. I want y'all to bring it down earlier. Throw that into the shadow streams of your mind, and don't peek and turn your other cheek into the true light of happiness, love, true peace, freedom, and justice. And with that, we're going to go over the message that's supposed to be proclaimed in every temple meeting, every temple service by the prophet, Islam. The prophet says, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me in the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world would not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my work, which I have performed in the past few years, the prophet Noah Joali. So this is the prophet calling out for y'all to invest in your nation. We go and invest in a bonds, we go and invest in a securities. We got the opportunity to build our own nation up $1 at a time, or a couple $100s at a time, or a couple $1,000s at a time, especially in this day and time where we living at a higher economical standard. But these funds just don't go toward any old and everything. They actually go towards sound investments. We have our portfolio for the family office that we manage. That's public to review. You see where the funds is at and where they're being traded. We're gonna bring in some skilled traders as we go along that are skilled and working trade desk, which is the same thing banks do. Then also other investments like our marketing, our websites, those type of things. And we maintain the websites over a couple, over years. We've been doing it for the past couple of years, going strong. And now we're about to be getting into YouTube automation and other forms of automation. I learned SEO years ago and been just studying all of the different facets of it as I can. I get into the fundamentals, so that way when it's time to really go full force with the 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 work, we actually know what we're doing and we can give high quality at doing it. So spent all that time doing that, just like I said with real estate, and now I'm bringing those things out at the same time, learning new skills, learning the trade, and underwriting more projects for more industries, because we got to be able to get into all forms of civil engineering, whether that's having our own infrastructural plants, factories, all those different things. And each and every thing or genre of economics, we gonna have to have understanding of real estate and trade, economics, and monetization, business structure, legal structure. So you have someone getting into that field. Politics, we need that. We're gonna need educators. We're gonna need everybody from all walks of life and skill sets to participate. I'm not no land construction type person or land development type person or real estate development, but that doesn't mean I can't get into the field, participate in some way or fashion by underwriting those type of deals and building a relationship, so that way we go in with a strong suit and strong threshold of knowledge behind such. Because if we're gonna build our own smart cities, sustainable development cities, eco villages, but actually be in control and own everything that we create as a community, we got to have some powerful and impactful work ethics behind us. Because we going into a time where they saying you will own nothing and control nothing and be happy. So if we want to maintain a lot of organic wisdom that comes with having a trade and a skill set and knowing how to depend on nature and ourselves, then we got to go full force and go hard with learning these skills, building these skills, no matter how long it takes. And when they start to flourish, when the seeds start to develop, a lot of people didn't start their careers until, or get known for their careers until their late 40s, 50s. So we start young, we can make these things happen, especially for the next generation. So with that, anybody got any last contributions? I'm about to open up the 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 Moorish prayer so we can close it out for the night. But I'm gonna leave 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 it a moment of space for y'all to come back to your mics and make any contributions that y'all want to make for the night.
Pardon the body. Yeah, I had a quick question about let's say someone was interested in pursuing a certain path. Is there a long view in being able to help people kind of clear out their situations or their work processes that they might be working on to actually I guess I'm sorry. Back in the day, bands would get, investment money from these labels, so if you have people who are
Hmm.
doing the work, being able to get them in a position to where they can actually really focus on the work and that's recognized and pull away from anything that's not serving that purpose.
What? So you mean like funding for things like that?
Yeah, let's say someone wanted to get into law, or they wanted to get into real estate, but they wanted to be able to do it based on the family organization of things, because I mean things can get spread, far apart and get stuck into competitive natures of things versus actually aligning based on seeing from a bird's eye view with the
Right,
internet of
right.
things.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely can do it. This is why we offer a lot of uh economical, financial type of job set. For more of an entrepreneurial base first, because for us to really build up our artistry, build up the developers to really come in and do the work, they're gonna need the funding. So this is why the focus is on building those financial development skills first with the trade industry. Like I said, I'm getting into that now more heavy for us, and learning to do it organically instead of just depending on robots to trade, robotic trading, which a lot of people do. You make good money from it, but high network individuals and especially bank institutions, they actually have organic people trading at trade desk. So it's best we build the skill set and build a network and team around that, as well as doing, like I said earlier, acquisitions for like projects, especially real estate, because that's actually what funds all these other industries. Um, whether it's music, whether it's education. To educate, you got to have a building, or 9 times out of 10, you got to have a building, even if it's a virtual building. We still have to maintain a virtual website, those type of things. Even that's considered real estate, if you get what I'm saying. Did that answer your question, Jonathan?
Get back to my phone. Yeah, that clarifies things. I mean, back when the labels would hire a band and agree to a contract, there's certain legalese and agreements based on that, but moving away from that style of business, running a business, now that you have instantaneous communications and the ability to promote anywhere really, um, having a sense of that family organization behind it, and aligning in the sense of being able to bring people together just based on the framework that's put in place. There's not been much of a push towards any form of framework that brings that sensibility of paying attention to the elder wisdom, being able to slow down and say, hey, this isn't just about the numbers going up and down. Who am I next to my fellow man in the world, and to start to give life to why we're here and what we're here for.
What we're here for? Yeah, most definitely. So we have a purpose to center around behind the economic spirit. We have a divine purpose, and that's what it's about, because it's the goal that an end goal that we got to meet. Who's gonna take care of the elders for the next generation? We live in a society where you know we're not even caring about our children. We put more attention on our phones and laptops and other things than we do into our children, or than we do into taking care of our elderly. So this is why that purpose is there, because in order to build the infrastructure and that 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 type of functioning economy and society, we got to have the the economic means to do so, which is the funding, the financial means. Like Prophet just said, like we just read, it takes finance to uplift the nation. So we can want to farm and build all day, but we got a lot of infrastructure, especially political infrastructure, to stand strong again. So that way, when we try to bring things to the market, especially these new advanced technologies that can actually be utilized to clean up the land and our foods and fruits and things like that, they actually have a standing chance to compete and be brought to the market against those that may possibly lobby against it and try to keep things pushed to the wayside as has been done in the past. So the focal for us is not just to teach financial literacy, but for those of us that have standing in it to go ahead and take lead in creating and developing. And like I said, be open minded about who we work with. Even though we go through a lot of setbacks working with the wrong people, we still have to be open minded about who we work with, because you have a lot of people across the world that have already built these skill sets, that have already been successful in real estate and all these things. So this is why we have to understand how to clean up the message that we have as a divine and national movement, start to communicate more in practical terms, so that way people on a down to earth level could understand what the movement is about and what the means are for us as a people. Because we still have these groups, especially on here, especially here on Clubhouse, about, are we Moors, are we Hebrews, are we this, are we that? We are all that in a bag of chips. And with that, hope that answers your question. No, but anybody else want to chime in before we close out for the night? If not, I'm about to open us up, close us out with the prayer. I already opened us up for the day, but close us out for the prayer. I want to hold y'all all night. I want y'all to enjoy y'all time with y'all families, and you enjoy the rest of your beautiful holy day. So I'm still, the floor is still open if y'all want to chime in and make any last contribution. All right, with that, y'all know how it go. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, feet at a 45-degree angle, facing the east. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. Wadu y'all. True peace. Enjoy the rest of y'all holy day. Much love. Bua.